Well, we are drawing noses today. This is probably the last of the series of facial features that I've been working on for the last month or so. Let's see, I've done the eyes, I've done the ears, and I've done the mouth. So this is the nose that we're going to work on today. We'll be doing at least 3 different angles on it: the front view, the side view, the profile view, and then the 3/4 view. So we'll give that a try, see if we can structure up some noses for you, and then we'll try drawing one from a reference and see how true the guides and the guidelines are for drawing noses. So let's get started. As with the mouth and the eyes and everything, you got to start with those basic shapes first. If you can figure out those basic shapes and then start structuring and building the detail onto those basic shapes. So with noses, let's go here. We'll just kind of hash this out. 3 different locations here. All right, and the bottom point of the nose. All right, and right up here. So the front view of the nose, we'll put it in the center, and we'll do the profile and then the 3/4 view. So you remember if some of my previous sketching with the life drawing and stuff where we're adding faces, or even that Loomis method head tutorial that I did a few months ago, when I was doing the nose, is starting out with a circular form, and the nose also has these elliptical shapes right off to the side of it. All right, and then at the top of the nose, you got to think of the nose broken into like three sections here, coming down to the length of it. Down here to the bottom of the nose, you got this just above midpoint, right where the your skull, and it transitions from your skull into the cartilage of the nose. You got that spot, and then you have that spot right up above that divot, this spot right up in this area that you have to worry about. So there's always this front plane of the nose. And also the nose has an overall triangular shape, right, like that. All right, so it's looking straight on, and I'm starting with the hardest angle right now because the straight on view of the nose has essentially no edges to work with except on the underneath side of the nose right down here, and that's nice. I mean, you can see the edges, you can define them. Everything about the nose with a straight on is all done through value changes, directional mark making, and lights and darks. All right, so the value range. So right down here, I'm just going to quickly just kind of establish the nostril with the lower portion of the nose, and the nostril on the left, nostril on the right, and the ball of the nose. So you can definitely use that circular form to create the shape of that main ball of the nose, and then your nostrils off to the side. So I mean, you got to try to keep it somewhat symmetrical, and this all just kind of bends in and kind of flows out. Now keep in mind there's a front plane up here and then an underneath plane, and that's what I indicated right there. This is kind of a transition, and it's going to be a shading point right up along the nose. And I'm just kind of shading for value or plane changes, not so much for lighting. I'll worry about the lighting here in a second. So all right, so there we've already built pretty much a nice portion of the nose right there. Also, you've got this whole shape. Now this is a Riley method rhythm line coming down, and there's another one that comes down like this as well. You got your chin in here and your mouth. Mouth happens, your chin, all of that. So you got all these rhythm lines and all of that to contend with. And we also have essentially the skull eye socket right there. All right, so you're just kind of placing everything into position. All right, but there's this front plane of the nose, and then you got these side planes off to the side. All right, and depending upon the lighting is what's going to indicate the value structure, the lights and darks. All right, and keep in mind this is all a spherical form, so you can kind of work with that in mind too. And then depending upon the light source, if the light source is coming this way, your nose is going to kick a shadow out here. And then you have your laugh lines that associate with that Riley method rhythm right there. So all right, so that's a straight on view. This one I definitely encourage you to practice a lot, because this one will be the most difficult probably for you to kind of work with, because there's really no sense of solid line that defines the shape. You have to do it through value and modeling. So all right, so over here, let's come over here. That's going to be the profile view. All right, and again, it's a triangle, kind of about like that. All right, like that. We'll try to keep it in the same general shape as the other nose and then location. So I'm going to pop the bulk of the ball of the nose right there, and then you're going to have the nostrils happening right in there. All right. Oh, we'll draw the Cupid's bow over here too. There we go. All right. So with that triangle right there, plus you're going to have, and keep in mind the face is going to be either kind of an angular shape like that, or it can also be kind of an arc. All right. So now we got some of the guidelines. Remember, the guidelines are just there. You're going to adjust and play with these guidelines and these rough ideas of where placement is. Everybody's got a different size nose, different type of nose. There's people with big bumps in their noses, and there's just a wide variety. So these guidelines, these basic things are just there to kind of give you a sense of how to structure it. They can be pushed and pulled to your heart's content. So all right, so I'm going to come in here. There's the ball of the nose. It's going to come up. It might even be a slight, there's that notch right there. That's right where underneath where the skull, that nose bridge right there happens. All right, and we'll pull this down and around, and then the nostril comes in like this, like that. All right, and then we can get the nostril comes up like that into the shape, and then the front of the nose transitions down into the upper lip right there, and a lot of times even the cheekbone is happening right there. All right, so again, did I get everything about right? Looks like I did. All right, and you can just really start working with all of your tones and get that laugh line in there. All right, it comes down, upper lip comes down, and then it comes into the mouth. Whether it's a smiling mouth or whatever, it comes right under the Cupid's bow, comes down, upper lips right there, and then the lower lip might even wrap around a little bit. Boom, like that. All right, so we've kind of done a quick little, and then of course the eye socket's right in here. The eyes will be back in here, and again, drawing eyes in profile. It's essentially another triangle, and you see the shape of the eye. All right, so you got the little poofy, got the upper eyelid. Depends on if it's on a young, old, whatever. Right. So there's the profile. We got the straight on view. I think I got this nose a little higher than what I'm showing on this nose. I never made it as a character designer. I can't get my reference points in the same spot. So, all right, now let's try the 3/4 view. This one should be fun. All right, here we go. So again, we're going to, let's see, I'm going to try to keep it. Let's go this way. We're going to throw that circle right here. This nostril is going to be kind of an elliptical shape like that, and the other one's going to just be peeking around over there, right? And then you've got this shape happening. And so it's really almost a very flat triangle like that. So triangular shapes overall for the shape of the nose, within also working with the the circles for the nostrils and stuff. So, all right, so let me try this. We'll come down. I'm going to pull that nose, and it kind of has a little thing happening there. We'll get the nostril coming up like that. Got that little hook. It comes around. Got this underneath side like that. There's our form right there, and we'll just catch a little bit of this nostril over here with a little bit of that, and we'll throw this hooks around like that. Okay, all right, and we'll get that break right there. Comes up here. Let's throw it this way, and we'll break it down like that. All right, and then you got this front plane and then the whole side plane happening, and there's the laugh line, and because it's slightly behind the nostril over here, it's going to be coming around like that. We'll throw the Cupid's bow in there like that, and then we can do a little shading. All right, there's a highlight. Oh, look at that, isn't that nice? All right, and then we'll just use some shading and get that. All right, and then as it comes around into that indent, that's where you start seeing the change in the brow. Well, it transitions right into the brow right there. All right, so, and again, depending upon the shadow, what's happening, where the light source is coming from. All right, so there's our 3 positions of the noses. That one probably sucks the most, but that's all right. It's kind of a fast way of thinking about how to draw and develop the structure of the nose. All right, so I think that is a fairly straightforward structural way of going and approaching noses. But again, as you're learning this, you have to look and use reference as much as you can, because you don't have that embedded in your mind yet. All you have maybe are a bunch of rules and things that you're kind of trying to remember. And when you just use the structure without any reference to go by, sometimes it doesn't quite look natural and realistic. So we'll see if we can draw a better realistic nose when we observe something from reference, be it a live person or whether or not it is a photograph. So let's give that a try. I'm going to switch over. I'm going to use my ebony pencil in this case right now. All right, and again, this was all about just structure, the guidelines and how to kind of structure up and how to draw a nose and the shapes that you're working with. I did it in a very linear manner where everything was done but with lines. Now with charcoal, you can definitely get more of a shape and tone approach to it, and I might do that in a separate video, but it's definitely a non-linear way of approaching and drawing that. So you draw and get the basic shapes in the right tones first before you ever come in and start defining edges and stuff. And it's a good way to work to it. It has a nice soft feel. It has maybe a lot of out of focus features and soft focus features that you can integrate into it. And then when you do want to have some really tight detail, that's when you punch it in there with the linear work and the hard edges and stuff. But we're going to do it with pencil, and if I can find my reference, let's do this guy right here. All right, so we'll just kind of real quick, I want to just kind of get the sense of the head first, if I can get that about right, and then I'm going to get the angle of his head and the angle of his eye line. All right, so right there, and then side of his head's right over here. Okay, and the nose is going to happen about right there, and the chin about like that. All right, so we'll just throw that in there. We're going to focus on the nose first, and maybe just suggest what the other facial features will look like. So right in here is going to be where all the money shot is. And I'm looking at the reference. His nose isn't so much a round one here. It's a more elliptical right in here. And then over here on the sides, they're more of a sharper ellipse on that side and a little rounder over here on this side, but they're higher than the bottom of the nose. So that gave us that kind of a shape. And we're going to come up here, and we got that furrow brow right in here. The brow comes right across and right in there and right over this way. All right, so we really kind of getting that whole structure. The face kind of has that triangular shape here. All right, and I got my triangle shape happening with the nose right there. All right, so, and then he's got a pretty round, flat chin right down here. And you can see that rhythm, that Riley rhythm happening right in through here. And with men, especially old guys like me, the secondary rhythm is where this fatty part of your cheeks are happening. So it comes up, it comes up from right in here, it comes around and connects in. All right, and then we can get the eye sockets right in there. All right, so let's focus on that nose. I think we got everything, looks pretty good structurally, and I always like on 3/4 views like this, I like to get this lower area of the nose figured out first. All right, and this is a nice one because the lighting really shows you this underneath plane of the nose right there. And then we got the other, we have the nostril coming up and around. And we have this ball of the nose comes up and kind of meets up right in this area. So you definitely see some nice shading right up under here. The highlight of the nose is going to happen right in there. And then on this side, where the shadow is, it's really doing the definition of the from plane to plane. So we have a really nice shape coming up into the eye socket right in here. All right, and a really deep dark crevice right there, and it's coming around. His nostril comes clear around, and again it kind of transitions from a line into a tone right down in here. And then his Cupid's bow right in there kind of also plays in with the shadow right there. There we go. And there's a really nice shadow right along this side. And on this back side, there's a really nice little hot spot right there on the nose. Okay. And this side of the nose is really being defined by the negative space. The tone out here on this cheek right there. All right, so that's a fairly nice 3/4 view, and you come right up in here to where that furrowed brow is right there, this whole area, and this whole area goes into shade. All right, so this is a very soft transition. And again, this is where you can maybe use some of your directional mark making, show what angle, what direction the planes are going in, right? And start softening out some of those things right there. And the shadow comes right off of the laugh line. It's coming across, coming down right along his upper lip like that. So, all right, so there's a nice 3/4 view. Let me do another one real quick, and just this will be a bonus. Here's a little bonus one. All right, remember here we'll do this girl here. All right, so I've told you in the past that essentially the face, if you think of the face as kind of a, if I can get it just right, a piece of paper, right? There we go. And it's curving. It's this rounded plane, right? So I've got this girl, and there's the center line up. It's going to be about right there. All right, the center line, and her nose is going to happen right along this arc, right in here, right? And then her mouth's going to be about right in here. Eyes are up there. All right, so I'm not even worrying about the head. I'm just trying to get the arc of that face just right. And underside noses are a royal pain trying to get that. Plus the underneath side of your chin. We'll have to do something dedicated to that as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get the right shape following that arc. And it's off. I don't have it right. I got to get it over here more and get it right there. There, about like that. And then it comes back here. So this is kind of a compound triangle, two triangle shapes to get that nose just right. All right, and then you can maybe come in and get your circle. But all the fun stuff happens right along this edge right here, and then where the Cupid's bow is. And this is hard because a lot of times when people draw noses from underneath, they look like little pig noses, right? So we'll see if I draw a pig nose here. All right, so I'm going to try to get the nostril first, right in here. And it's kind of got this little bean shape, right? It's kind of like that. All right, so we got this little bean shape on that nostril, and I'm looking here. I'm going to try to get the edge of the ball of her nose, and it comes down, and it kind of transitions into the edge of that Cupid's bow right there. And then we can get the backside of the nostril over here. Boy, this looks like hell. I should have worked bigger. All right, and then it kind of comes around right like that. All right, okay. So we're going to come around, come up, and come around and over like that. And then we can come over the other nostril. Hang on, let me knock it back a little bit. Just a second. All right. I'm just going to knock back all the content. There we go. That'll help out. That'll give me a little better effort on it. All right. So let's get that nostril. And we're going to get this rounded portion, comes down, connects into the Cupid's bow, and that's actually toned down here. And this nose comes out and comes around, and then we'll get the other nostril right there. Okay. And then we'll go like that, make it a little. All right. So, but it definitely reacts and works with that arcing portion right there. And then we can start working with our values. And the underneath side of her nostril is fairly highlighted. And the side of it right there. This one's more in shade. And her laugh line comes down right off like that. And it's very subtle. And there is one there, but it's more tone than anything. And then it comes right into the lip. That. All right. Like that. All right. So, if you get the 3/4 view, the front view, and the profile view figured out, practice doing these side views or the underneath views of the lips. They will humble you, and when you first do them, mine kind of looks like a big pile of poo-poo right now. Get that lip. Lips also are you know, as the face tips back like that, all the features kind of start collapsing. They start foreshortening. So the distance between your lip and your nose, as you lean back, it gets shorter and shorter. So you got to keep that in mind. So I should have picked an old man. He'd had a better nose. So, all right. So anyway, work on that. You can kind of get a sense that is too small. I should have worked that one up larger. And if I was a really good YouTuber, I'd probably not put this out and just do it again, but I like figuring it out as I go. We've got a nice shadow up here. Got that whole eye. There we go. Yeah. All right. So anyway, that's pretty much drawing noses with just using the structure, and then we did an observational one. So give that a try. See how you like it. They take a lot of practice. Noses, depending on the angle or whatever, they can be easy or they can be hard. A lot of times I think with faces, the better lighting, if you have some good dramatic lighting and it casts shadows, that's going to help you out a lot with noses. And if you got any value out of this tutorial, please give me a like and a subscribe. Give it a try. I know you can do it. And I'll see you in the next tutorial.